Before we get started, there is one thing that you must always remember when training with any type of aversive or negative tool. The dog must always feel in control of the correction. The purpose of the steps you're about to see is to help the dog understand that they have the power to choose whether or not they feel the prong collar. In the end, the dog should not feel that we are correcting them, but rather that they caused a correction to happen. The first step in the process is something I call basic pressure work. The purpose of this step is to just introduce the dog to the sensation from this new collar around their neck, and to show them that if they feel us pulling on that collar, they can easily make the sensation go away by simply moving in the direction that we're pulling. The majority of dogs, when they feel a pull on their collar, want to resist. We call it opposition reflex. So the point of this initial step is to condition out the opposition reflex and get the dog to move very freely in the direction of the collar and begin to show them that they can easily turn that pressure off.
Good boy. Very good, Mr. Moose. Very good.
There's a couple key points when doing this step. The first is that you'll notice we're always keeping the pressure on the leash as horizontal as we can. Many people have a tendency to pull straight upward on the leash, and in this context we want to be pulling in line with the dog's shoulders. You'll also notice I'm not pulling very hard. You want to use the minimal amount of pressure where you can begin to feel the dog resist. There you can see Shelby resisting just a little bit, and that's exactly where we're trying to condition out. You'll also notice that we're not requiring a whole lot from the dog right now. All we're really looking for is just 1 or 2 steps in the right direction, and then all the pressure from the leash goes away.
Good girl, Shelby. Good girl.
Once the dog is doing well, I like to work them up against a wall, with the wall on one side and me on the other.
Get that hand
This
lower.
prepares them for the directional pressure that they're going to feel when we begin to work them in heel position.
Good. Good girl. Good girl.
Do one more right from there.
Good. Good girl. Good girl.
Good boy. Good boy, bud.
Shelby's almost ready for the next step. In the clip I'm about to show, I want you to pay attention to how little effort it takes me to move her backwards. It's almost as if I'm not pulling on the leash at all.
Good girl. Very good girl.
I'm going to play that same clip so you can see it again.
Good girl. Very good girl.
Step 2 we call starting and stopping, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It involves us starting and stopping our movement so the dog can learn to begin to pay attention to what we are doing. I want you to notice the position of the leash in this picture. This should always be your starting point. The leash should be shaped sort of like a J, where it comes directly down from the dog's collar and then back up to your hand. You want there to be enough slack on the leash that the dog can make a mistake, but when they are in good position, they feel no tension whatsoever. There's a few key points to this stage of training. The basic motion is that you are going to be starting and stopping movement very abruptly. When you come to a stop, the dog will ultimately hit the end of the leash. When that happens, they're going to tend to look back at you like, hey, what happened? And they're going to realize that they caused themselves to be corrected by not paying attention to your movement. One of the most important points here is that you want to keep your hand firmly planted against your hip. You want no movement at all with your hand that's holding the leash. If you move it forward when the dog hits the end of the leash, you will absorb the correction, and it may not be enough to motivate the dog to change their behavior. If you pull it backwards, the dog will feel that you are causing them discomfort. And again, we really want the dog to understand here that they are causing it to themselves.
Heel. Heel. Good girl. Heel.
You can see that after just a few repetitions, Shelby is already starting to anticipate the fact that I'm going to be stopping, and she's beginning to pay more attention to what I'm doing. That is exactly what we're trying to teach here. And when she does it right, I reward her to tell her that that little bit of attention is what I'm looking for. Amber, who is one of my trainers here at Canine Connection, has a little trick that she likes to show clients who have trouble keeping their hand stable next to their hip. And what she does is she puts her thumb in her pants pocket. That acts as a reminder to her to not let her hand move forward and not to pull backwards on the leash.
Good.
Good girl.
Could probably shorten up the leash just slightly. Yeah. Good. Good.
Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. Good.
Good.
Good. Yep.
Good.
Good girl.
Yeah, because we'll fix all that turning later. We'll just work her up against a wall, you know.
Yep. Good girl.
What I want you to take note of here with Moose is how much more confident he looks than he was prior to us starting this training. Keep in mind, we are putting the dog in control of the pressure, and there's very few things in our crazy human world that a dog can reliably control. This can help a lot of dogs gain confidence in their environment.
Good boy. What a good boy. Yep. Good. Yep. Good boy. Very good, Moose. Very good job. Very good job, bud.